In a male-dominated industry, few women have transcended gender and stereotype in such a way as my guest at this time. Combining great athletic ability and wrestling skill, she's risen to become one of the top female performers in the industry today. It is my pleasure to welcome Gail Kim. You've been with TNA for almost 18 months now. How have you been finding it?
I love it. I mean, the experience from day one has been so different from, I previously worked for WWE, as everyone knows, and it's just a different experience for me. Maybe not with a full-blown women's division. I came in as a manager, but the people, it's more of a family, our whole roster, having Dixie Carter as a boss, having a woman as a boss as opposed to Vince McMahon. Everything's just worlds difference. I'm really enjoying myself and really coming into my own here, and it's very different when the company that you work for believes in you.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just much different. I mean, I could go on all day about the differences, but overall, a more positive experience.
Speaking of the women's division, there have been women with TNA since its inception, but no women's division as such. Do you actually see one being developed?
I mean, yes, I really do. When I first came into TNA, when they first approached me about coming and working for the company, they said, we would really like to develop a women's division. And they did say to me, it's not going to happen overnight. And realistically, I knew it wasn't going to happen overnight because of a number of reasons, not enough girls, time, we only have an hour show with a lot of talent on the roster.
Yeah.
So we've been very patient, and all the girls, all of us, we are really pushing for it. So right now, as you just saw, me and Jackie, we just finished a feud, and that's pretty much, I think, going to be the first beginning steps of a storyline or a women's division, and we just need more girls and more time. I think those are going to be the two factors.
Yeah. You mentioned working for Dixie Carter. Do you think that having a woman at the helm would make a difference to the way a TNA women's division is handled?
Oh, definitely, 100%. Dixie from day one has always been so supportive, and I'm not going to knock Vince in any way, but he's a man. Men and women view us differently, and Vince has been around a long time, I'll admit that, and he knows wrestling, but I think Dixie cares more about how we're portrayed and how we're viewed as people, and care more about our characters, and care more about making us look, I think, professional and classy.
As opposed to diva searches.
As opposed to, the tits and ass.
Yeah, sure.
The TNA you see, or, I know we're called TNA, but, I don't think our girls are necessarily just viewed as TNA.
Oh, I think that joke's really prosaic. I think everyone got over that one a long time ago.
Right. So, and Vince is a man. He's got testosterone. So I'm sure he's going to see things a little bit differently. And I know there are fans out there who want to see that, but you know what? I think Dixie understands that part of the business as well. So we give them the sexiness, and then we're going to give them the physicality in the wrestling. So
for sure.
Exactly. And each girl is going to be different. I guess we talked about this before, the girls and I, and each of us all have different kind of. Jackie's a tough girl. She's been around the business a long time. For me, I've been around just, maybe 6 years now, going on my 7th of wrestling, and people see me as an athletic girl, but I wear, cute little outfits, and then there's Kirsty, and she's sexy too, but she's got a harder edge, and SoCal Val's the princess girl, and Tracy's the businesswoman. Yeah. So we all have our own characteristics to give.
It's striking that balance, isn't it, between strong and sexy?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a good balance there.
You were talking about how there aren't many women with TNA. Are there many expressing an interest in working? Are there many currently in training?
There's a lot of girls out there on the independent scene, and, there's a lot of women out there who are talented, and I know that they want to bring in more girls, but like I said before, even with guys, and there's a lot of guys who want to join TNA, but right now we have a very full roster, and we are waiting for that second hour of television.
Yeah.
So until that point, they're just trying to fit who they have now, so it's going to be difficult. But I think they are keeping their eye out right now for, you know, girls who have got the whole package, the girls who, you know, maybe have to look, and then who can hang in there with, you know, with the rest of the girls. And hopefully once we get that second hour, they'll start hiring those girls.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
You debuted with the AWF as La Felina. How do you look back on your experiences on the independent circuit?
It was a great learning experience. I mean, that whole character wasn't my idea, so it wasn't really me, but I didn't know any better at that point.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful that I went to the right wrestling school and was trained right, and I met the right people. You know, I started with Tracy, Miss Brooks, you know, with Robert Roode.
Yeah.
I started with her and a bunch of great guys, and then eventually started working for Scott D'Amore and Terry Taylor for little independent shows, and I learned so much from them. And now, you know, we've come full circle and we're in TNA all together now. So it was such a great learning experience. I was around a lot of positive, supportive people, and I wouldn't take back any of that training and, you know, traveling up and down the road and working for $30 and learning for nothing. I mean, it was a great experience.
You said that the character wasn't really you. But how did you find being a female representative of the Lucha Libre style?
You know, I never thought of myself as that. I just knew that I watched a lot of Mexican tapes and Japanese wrestling, because Japanese wrestling, you see a lot of Mexican wrestling as well. And I just knew that I loved it, and I found it entertaining, and I would say, oh, that's cool, and maybe I can do that, you know. And I had a guy who trained me after my first wrestling school, and he was mostly Mexican style, and he really believed in me. And every time we'd be in the wrestling school and training, he'd say, oh, Gail, try this move. And I would say, oh, I can't do that. And he'd say, yes, you can, you know, and then we just do it.
Yeah.
And it just came to be that way. And some people see me as a Mexican style wrestler, but I'd like to say that I like to incorporate all kinds of styles of wrestling.
Right.
But I'm flattered if people enjoy watching it, and I just try to perform my best out there.
So bearing that in mind, what kind of significance did losing your mask to Tracy Brooks have for you?
Losing the mask?
Yeah.
Oh, that was a big deal for me, because I really, you know what, I'll be honest though, having the mask in my first debut match ever, that helped me a lot, because I'm kind of a shy person as it is in real life, and for me, I was very, as anyone would be, very nervous. So for me not to have to show my face and, you know, show the facials and all that, it helped me. Yeah. And then once I felt a little bit more comfortable in the ring, I was just thinking, oh my gosh, I need to get this mask off my face because I can't breathe. Yeah. So it was very difficult. It was very hot. And, you know, working on independent shows, you're going to work a lot of bars and, you know, little places that were just so hot. And it was very hard for me to breathe. And sometimes the mask would shift over and I couldn't see. Panic. And like little things like that. But it was a great moment. I'll always remember it. And it was a great match.
Awesome. From AWF, you signed with WWE. How did it feel winning the WWE Women's Championship during your Raw debut?
It was a blur, to be honest. You know, I always get this question in interviews, and I say, I'm very grateful for that moment. I would never take that back for anything. If I could go back and do it again, if I had to start my career all over again, I would say maybe I would have done it differently for a reason of, you know, maybe I'd like to have had the fans connect with me more and know who I was. But now that I would never take that back now. You know, it was a great moment. Yeah. And I'm very thankful and grateful. And the fans were very receptive that night. Yeah. It was definitely a memorable moment. And my sister was actually in the first row. Oh, and the guy that trained me was actually in 5 rows deep, and I didn't even know he was going to be there. So it was a very nice moment.
And I would say indicative of WWE's opinion of your ability. And, you know, you had been red hot since then, so it must have come as a shock when you were released.
Yeah, you know, at that point, I was really caught off guard. You know, when they called me and they said you're released, it was kind of, I remember the phone call thinking, I wasn't upset, I wasn't, you know, depressed or anything like that. I just thought, wait a minute, hold on a second, I need an explanation here. I don't get it, you know.
Did you get one?
Yeah, you know, I actually said that. I said, hold on, because they were kind of quick to get off the phone, because that day they had released maybe 10 people that day.
Yeah.
It was a whole group of us. And I remember talking to, it was Johnny Ace, the head of talent relations, and he said, you know, we're going to have to release you. And I said, hold on, I just want to know, I'm not understanding why. I just did a run-in last night on the storyline. We just started a storyline with me, Trish, and Lita at that point. And so I felt like it was actually weird because I got released on the Tuesday and Monday Night Raw was the night before. And all I thought was that day on Monday I was thinking, wow, we're going to start this fresh new storyline. I felt like it was going to be the beginning of something great. And it was actually not. It was the actual opposite. So it's interesting how it turned out. But I really believe everything happened for a reason. And, you know, a year later I ended up at TNA. And I think it was the best career move for me that I've made so far in wrestling because they've believed in me and just everything has been going really great. So.
You just mentioned they were releasing a whole lot of other people at the same time, including many other talented women. And now Trish and Lita have left as well. What do you think of the current state of the WWE Women's Division?
I think that it's kind of disappointing coming from, you know, a woman wrestler who just really has passion for the business, and it's frustrating to watch because I know people, you know, Victoria's a very good friend of mine, and I sometimes will watch. Actually, I haven't really watched in a long time, but if I do watch, I'm frustrated for her because I know how she feels. Yeah. And for us, the girls in TNA, we're frustrated only because we just don't have a women's division, but we know at least that they respect us and that we're working towards it. I am so surprised that in one release, in terms of, you know, at that time it was myself, Nydia, and Jazz, and then it started going downhill from there. But Vince literally, I felt like, destroyed the women's division within a couple of months. So it's hard because as women we work just as hard as the guys, and then for someone to just, you know, take that away from us, it took away a lot of our motivation, I think, you know.
I know what you mean about frustration. Often what I feel when I see a really good women's match, and they're so few and far between now, like the one that Trish had with Mickey at New Year's Revolution, is that I feel frustration because I know that any second now they're going to break out a pillow fight or, you know, or a lingerie match or something like that. And like you said, there's women there like Victoria who are just so talented. And
and the thing is, you know, they do have talented girls there. You know, like Jillian, I know she's a good wrestler. I've worked with her. You know, Mickey and Victoria and Melina, and there's a couple of girls, and Beth Phoenix, who got brought up for a short period of time. They do have talented girls, but it's almost like they don't want to use their talents. So that's the frustrating part.
I heard that the Diva Search was pretty much Vince's baby, and he'll never let it go.
Yes. You know, I mean, everyone who knows or who's been in the business, and, you know, they pretty much know what they're looking for, and, you know, that's not what they're looking for. You know, they don't want the girls who are going to put on a match that is going to be as good as the guys. They don't want that.
Yeah. Getting back to TNA, though, what's your take on the public's perception of TNA since Vince Russo came on board?
Well, I don't like to read the internet a lot, so I won't, you know, I don't get the internet opinions, but from people, it's so half and half, but I'm not sure.
From the crowd and stuff that you're getting the Fire Russo chants, and
I know, you know, I was in the crowd live when they started chanting the Fire Russo, and I was just in shock, to be honest. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening right now. But, you know, coming from working with Vince, he's a great guy, to be honest. He's a really good guy, and I don't think the fans know completely what's going on behind the scenes. So, they're quick to judge and blame, and if they don't like something, so it's not always on one person. The pay-per-view, this last pay-per-view is just amazing. So, you know, I just don't like when fans are quick to just criticize, but then, you know, they gotta give us props for the positive stuff too, you know, but you never hear about the good things. You hear about all the bad things.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I would just like for wrestling fans to be a little bit more positive sometimes.
Right. Well, how do you respond to the sort of rather widespread criticism that, you know, since TNA have brought Vince Russo on board, that there's too many gimmick matches, sacrifice notwithstanding, of course, but, you know, Lockdown, there was every match was a gimmick match being in a cage, and then there was gimmicks on top of that.
Right. Yeah, I've heard a lot of those comments as well, and I kind of agree in a sense too, because, you know, I think we're having more gimmick matches than actual wrestling matches. Mm-hmm. So it makes it less.
And it's not as if the talent on TNA can't stand on its own merit in terms of wrestling ability, you know?
Right, absolutely. Because I honestly believe we have the best athletes in the wrestling business right now, you know. But like I said, you can't blame it on one person, because it's not like Vince is, you know, the owner of the company and he's the one calling the shots. I'm sure there's other people making decisions.
Yeah. How do you look back on your tag matches that you had with Petey Williams?
Oh, it was so much fun. You know, I loved working with Petey because he's such a talented wrestler. And actually, we worked together in the independents.
Oh, yeah.
For Border City Wrestling. We're both Canadian. So we got along so great, and the fans were really receptive towards us. So we just had fun.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun. We're out there, yeah. Everybody was just waiting for him to hit the Canadian distributor. Yeah. Everyone loves that move.
Oh, they do, yeah. But it's one of those moves that never loses its impact, does it? No matter how many times you see it. So.
Oh my gosh, the crowd goes. He just hit it last night because we just had TV tapings, and the crowd went insane.
Yeah. Are a mixed tag match is something that you'd like to do more of?
Yes, definitely. You know, I love mixed tags because it's kind of that, you know, I think fans love to see mixed tags because you get to see the girls mix it up with the guys.
Would you like to do even mixed singles matches? Like, would you go up against someone in the X division?
You know, I heard rumors about that because some fans are telling me, and then one of the guys, Terry Taylor, one of the guys in the office, mentioned it to me, and I don't know if it was serious or not, but I said, you know, I think it would be great for a storyline. I don't know if it would be a long-term thing, because those guys, I mean, I have to give it to them. They're phenomenal athletes. Yeah. And I hope I would be able to keep up with them, you know. I would definitely love the chance to do it, so maybe one day. Yeah. We'll see.
What are your thoughts on the angle that Christy Hemme is working right now? Do you see that as a positive or negative thing for women in TNA?
In terms of her... Because a lot of people didn't get her storyline. I was trying to explain it to somebody. Right. So we don't get what's going. She's fighting for women's wrestling, but she's not doing anything. You know, all this stuff. And I said, well, the whole point is that she's a heel now. You know, she's a hypocrite. Yeah. Right. So I said, you know, I'm looking at it from behind the scenes, and I just think it's great that more girls are getting involved right now. I mean, this is more for not off the record, I should be saying more for behind the scenes. Like, I'm just happy that more girls are being featured and more girls are getting involved, which will therefore, in the end, when we get more time, turn into a women's division with more girls. So I'm happy about it. And I think it's great for her to start managing instead of jumping right into the wrestling. Right. Because then she can learn more, because realistically, Christy has been around in the wrestling business for now a couple of years, but I don't think she's had a lot of wrestling experience in terms of in the ring. So it'll give her a great chance to learn, because I believe a manager I should say any girl, you know, should know her way around the ring, in and out of it. You know? For sure. So, yeah. What kind of angles do you find embarrassing or degrading for women in wrestling? Are there any particular ones that you can think of that spring to mind? Well, I hate when anyone asks me to do any type of bikini contest or anything like that, beauty contest, bikini contest. And I did one in Portugal, but we made it work. You know? And my response to that is whenever I get asked to do anything like that is, well, if you want me to look like an idiot out there, I'll do it.
Good response.
Because to be honest, I'm not a good dancer. I don't find myself to be sexy, to be, you know, overtly sexy in that way, you know, to be in a bikini contest and showcase myself. For me, I feel comfortable in the ring to be a wrestler.
Right.
So, yeah. And I want to be sexy in my own way.
Yeah. And, you know, nobody's really sexy unless they're comfortable with what they're doing, are they?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
From reading your website and your MySpace, it's clear that you're a major foodie.
Yes.
And that you love to travel.
Yes.
So what country for you has had the most sort of gastronomic delight?
Wow. See, I like, because I'm from Canada and it's very multicultural there. I love all kinds of ethnic food, you know. So wherever I go, wherever I travel to, I like to try their food. In Mexico, you know, and we have to watch our diets. Yeah. So, you know, you don't totally get to pig out and try everything great all the time. Yeah. Whenever I travel, I like to travel and try the foods of the culture. You know, when we went to Portugal, a bunch of us went to a Portuguese diner and we ordered, you know, all the stuff that would be great there. And, oh, it's so good. I mean, I'm a big meat eater, so normally I like a good steak or, you know, I love seafood too. So in Portugal, for example, I had great squid, you know? Yeah. So, yeah, I love to just try everything.
What are your long-term ambitions in wrestling?
Well, like we were just talking about food. Yeah. My next step while I'm in wrestling, though, actually, I'd like to do this while I'm still in the business because, you know, you're on TV, you get a little bit more exposure. I want to put out a cookbook. Oh, yay. Yeah, so I'm working on that right now. Yeah, I'm working on that right now. I have no professional culinary experience, but I love cooking, experimenting. I take cooking lessons on my days off. Well, that's all you need, though, is the creativity and the passion to do it. Yeah. Yes, yeah. That would definitely be my next passion next to wrestling is the food and the cooking. And I'm leaning towards more healthy cooking, though, right? Yeah. So that's my next goal. And long term, I don't know. Ultimately, my dream job would be to have a cooking show on the Food Network. Food and travel. I would love to have one of those shows combined into one. So, in terms of combining wrestling and food, will that be Gail Kim's legacy? Will that be my legacy? I hope so. Yeah. We'll see. I'm definitely going to be working towards that. So. Yeah. Well, Gail, thank you very much for your time today. Thank you so much. And all the best. We'll talk again. That would be great. And all the best for the future.